You're losing. Not because you're weak, not because you're stupid. You're losing because no one ever taught you how to fight with your own mind. Right now, today, there's a conversation you're avoiding. A decision you keep rewriting in your head. A version of yourself you know you should be, but can't reach. And every hour you wait, you lose another piece of who you were meant to become. But here's the truth nobody tells you. This problem was solved 2,000 years ago. Not by therapists, not by life coaches, by men who had everything to lose and refused to lose it. Two of them cracked the code completely. One ruled the most powerful empire on earth while it collapsed around him. The other walked into 61 fights to the death and walked out of every single one alive. And by the end of this video, you'll have a weapon most men live their entire lives without. Let me show you the first man. Picture this. Rome is burning. Plague kills thousands every week. Generals plot to kill the emperor. The borders bleed. Everything is falling apart. And the most powerful man in the world, Marcus Aurelius, sits alone in a tent, writing. Now ask yourself this. If you had absolute power, if you had armies and gold and palaces, what would you do every morning? Marcus did the opposite of what you'd expect. Every single morning, he sat down and imagined losing everything. His children, dead. His empire, burned. His own body, broken and betrayed by disease. Sounds insane, right? Sounds like depression. It wasn't. It was the most powerful mental practice ever invented. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. And here's why it worked. Every fear you've never faced owns you. Every disaster you've never imagined can destroy you. But the moment you sit with the worst, the moment you look it in the eye and refuse to flinch, it loses its power over you forever. This is what Marcus understood. While other emperors crumbled when life hit them, he stood unmoved, because nothing life threw at him was worse than what he'd already survived in his mind. He wrote it down for us. He said, when you wake up, tell yourself the people you meet today will be ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and cruel. He didn't say this to complain. He said it so nothing could shake him. This is the first half of your weapon. You build the storm in your head first, so the real one can never touch you. But here's where it gets interesting. Because on the other side of the world, 1,500 years later, another man discovered something that should completely contradict what Marcus knew. His name was Miyamoto Musashi. 61 duels, 61 victories, 0 defeats. The greatest swordsman who ever lived. And he did something Marcus would have called madness. He didn't prepare for disaster. He didn't rehearse his fears. He didn't sit with the worst. He erased his mind completely. He called it Mushin, the mind of no mind. When Musashi fought, there was no strategy, no fear, no thinking about whether he'd live or die. Just pure action, pure presence. Like water flowing into a space it was always meant to fill. His opponents brought their best techniques. They brought years of training. They brought every clever strategy they'd memorized. And they all died. Because while they were thinking, Musashi was already moving. He wrote it down, too. He said, "Do not let the body be dragged along by the mind. Do not let the mind be dragged along by the body." So now stop and think about this. One man fills his mind with every possible disaster. The other empties his mind of everything. One prepares for the worst. The other refuses to prepare at all. How can both of them be right? This is the question that will change your life, so pay attention. These two systems don't contradict each other. They aren't opposites. They're the two halves of a single weapon. Premeditatio malorum is what you do before the moment arrives. You build the fortress. You walk through every nightmare. You face every fear in advance, in private, where they can't hurt you. So that when chaos finally comes knocking at your door, and it will, your mind doesn't shatter, because you've already lived through it 100 times in your head. But here's what most people miss. Here's the trap Marcus himself couldn't escape from. You cannot stay in that mode during the fight. The overthinking mind in battle is a dead man's mind. You've felt this before. Every voice in your head screaming a different strategy. You saw the opportunity. You knew what to do. And your body wouldn't move. That's preparation without release. That's the fortress trapping you inside its own walls. This is where Musashi takes over. The moment the battle starts, you drop everything. Every fear. Every plan. You become the blade. Without this, the first half of your weapon kills you. You've survived worse than what you're afraid of. You just haven't sat with it long enough to know that. Before your battle, you sit with the worst. You feel it burn. You let it hurt. And you keep sitting until it stops. You sit with it until you realize you would survive it. That is your stoic fortress. That is your armor. And once you've built it, you walk out the door ready. But here's where most people lose the war. They prepare, and then they keep preparing. They plan their way into paralysis. You will not be one of them. The moment your battle starts, empty everything you just rehearsed. Prepare like a stoic. Act like a samurai. That is the whole weapon. And now, it belongs to you.